CN had made a recent decision in March to retire the rest of their GMD1s. And so we were lucky enough to be at the right place at the right time, and CN graciously donated this.
So this was 100% donated.
100% donated. And
I understand that it has like new wheels.
Look how new these look. Now, if you're curious about the wheel, you can zoom in right here. That's your wear mark, right? All the way down there. Look how much thickness that has.
Wow.
All of them are like that.
And apparently it came topped up with fuel.
We do have a gauge that's full of fuel on the other side.
Wow.
We're in this big fuel tank here, much bigger than our other switchers.
Wow. So what year was this engine built?
It was built in 1958, right at home in London there. So it's, of course, all Canadian, which makes this locomotive unique. Only 101 were built. And of course, right here in Canada.
It's a bit of a misfit in the land of the Elcos here.
You got it. If you noticed, this is our first GM here, and we're happy to have it. A bit more variety here at the Waterloo Central.
Now, I understand that as built, this locomotive would have had 3-axle trucks.
You got it.
A1A trucks. Yep. I guess it's been rebuilt a couple of times.
Yeah, so originally those trucks were built for light prairie branch line services, so it just distributes the weight a little bit better on the tracks. When they were either abandoning them or maybe even upgrading them, CN realized they can just put just standard trucks on it. I believe these were from a GP9, from a rebuilt one of those.
From a GP9.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is currently set up with the short hood forward.
Short hood forward. I actually heard some debate. Before it got here, we were wondering if it was set up for long hood or short hood. Yeah. Short hood. This one is set up for short hood.
So the control stand is right here,
right in front of you there,
on this side.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, we're going to do a little walk around, and I guess before we start it and take the viewers for a little ride, we've got to do an inspection.
You got it.
So let's do that.
Sounds good. So we're just opening these doors now. We got to open the test cocks on each cylinder on the engine.
Those are what they call the knuckle buster latches.
Exactly. So these guys right here.
Yep. So we're going to open those up to drain the moisture out of the cylinders.
Exactly, because you don't want to start this engine with water in the cylinders, because as you might know, water does not compress.
Water does not compress.
Not at all. Now these are hammered in a little tight, so what we do is a couple taps with the hammer.
Little love tap.
Exactly, and they come nice and loose, as you can see. I can do that with my hand now, and you can do a couple turns out. Now if you really wanted to, you could take them all the way out, but you don't need to. So this could be the same, because this is a 12 cylinder, so it's going to be 12 of these that we're doing.
That's pretty easy math on a Friday morning.
Exactly. 6 on each side. So going
awesome.
through each door and doing that.
One of the most useful tools in railroading, a ball peen hammer.
You got it. It's useful for everything.
So because this block is in a V arrangement, I would imagine there's 6 on each side.
You got it. Yep, so it's 6 on each side. We're on number 4 right now. Now, some of them are a little tougher. Now, originally when we got the locomotive, we did clean all of these up, because they're a little worn on the inside. And if you're curious, I'll take this one right out. You can see what it looks like on the inside. So unscrew it.
Just hold it out over the railing. That's good.
So that is.
Let me zoom.
That's all that's sitting in there.
Okay, yep.
And anyway, I'm going to put it back in just so you know where you got it from.
Beautiful. All right, so we'll carry on with the rest of these and on to the next thing.
You got it. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to do the engine inspection on this locomotive. So we'll start right up at the front here. So we can go down and check our air compressor oil. This little dipstick right in the corner.
So all 12 of the test cocks have been opened.
Yep, we opened all those. That way it's ready to go.
And now we're checking the air compressor oil.
Yep, exactly. So we'll take this out. Give it a nice wipe.
Do you do windows as well?
Do windows as well.
You're too young to understand that reference.
I was about to say.
That's an old service station reference. You used to check your oil and clean your windows.
And as you can see there, it's actually a little past that full mark.
Beautiful.
So we're okay there.
Air compressor's good to go.
So now we're going to go check the coolant, and you always make sure there's enough coolant in the locomotive. Now that one's nice and easy. It's just a sight glass. It's tight stand back up here. And now we can close this door up. As you can see, there's actually not too much space on the deck here. So we can save a little bit of space. All right, come down here. So in our start compartment here, this is also where you start the engine. You're also going to see a oil pressure gauge. You can come right in here, and you can also see this water sight glass. So if you kind of bend down a little bit, take a look, you'll see we're all right at the top there. So we got lots of coolant. Not too worried. Now we're actually go over all the way to the other side of the locomotive there, where we're going to check both the governor and then the engine oil. And so now we're just going to check the governor oil in here. Now this one is a little snaked in, so you're more than welcome to follow me in here. I'm gonna get my light out as well, just so we can see it a little bit better. And there we go. So we're looking at this little sight glass. Again, it's probably hard to see. This is actually the very similar governor to our Elcos as well. So little sight glass right here. You want to make sure that's full. You can see it's full of red fluid, and that's good to go. So we're gonna go now check the engine oil. And right here is our engine oil. So dipsticks right here, this yellow thing. Again, I'm gonna take it out. Give it a nice swipe. This is quite the long one, actually. Nice wipe clean. You can see the full right up there. Now we're gonna check this again once we have this engine idling and nice and warm, because of course your oil level is gonna go down as the oil gets transferred all through the engine.
So we check it cold and then start it, let it air up. Let it come up to temperature and then check it again.
We have lots of oil.
Lots of oil, yep.
So we'll check it again when the engine's hot, but we're looking
cold level's good.
Pretty good for today. Alrighty, now we have to go get that moisture out of these cylinders. So what we're actually gonna do is, without giving the engine any fuel, what we're doing is spin it around. Pushes all that moisture out. Once that's done, we'll be okay to start. Alrighty, so now we're gonna actually start to give electricity to the engine so we can do that spinning thing I was mentioning earlier, get the moisture out of the cylinders. So right here is our big battery switch. Open her up. And as you can see, it's just right here. Now something kind of cool about this.
It's a big knife switch.
It is a big knife switch, and when you put it in, you actually hit that little, it's actually a radio disconnect there, so everything happens at once. So as I push this in, there, that's it. Now we come up here to this big breaker panel here. Now, to actually run the engine, all we need is this black section turned on. So,
looks like a 1970s hi-fi stereo.
Exactly. Yes, that's what I was noticing. I did like the look of this with that nice plastic cover. And if you look behind you, you can see the speedometers come to life, and the radio will also come to life. And we're gonna go out there now and spin this engine over.
So we now have battery power on the locomotive.
You got it.
All right.
Alrighty, so now we're going to be starting to spin this engine. Now, we don't want to start it right now, so as you can see, the starter switch right here, we're not going to use fuel prime yet. We're going to basically just go to engine start, which is only going to use the starter to spin that motor. I'm holding this handle back, that way I'm not giving that engine any fuel. Again, we're just trying to make sure there's no moisture left in those cylinders.
Okay, awesome.
So when we do get to starting this engine, these are your fuel filters. So you'll see the one on the right here, it actually has fuel in it. The one on the one on the left has fuel in it. One on the right should not have any fuel in it. If the fuel does show up there, that usually means you need to replace a filter. So there's a good indication. When we do go to start that engine, I'm holding that fuel priming. You're looking for all the bubbles. You'll see some bubbles in here to start, but then they'll disappear to become smooth. That's when you know there's enough fuel in the engine, you can switch to start. Alrighty, so now that we've closed up all the test cocks, now we have checked all of our oil and coolant levels, we're ready to start this thing up. So you'll see the switch right here. I'm gonna change it to fuel prime first. And you're watching for bubbles on that far sight glass like I mentioned earlier. Bubbles are all gone. Now, we go over to start the engine, a little bit of throttle. Lights and bells.
Lights and bells. Well, Matt, thanks very much for allowing us at the platform to come along today and have a tour and a ride on 1437.
You got it. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. We did a little up and down the line today, and hopefully you'll be seeing lots more in the future of it.
We'll have to do it again soon.
You got it. We'll hope you do it.
Thanks, Matt.